Recording is in progress. So here we are again. We're talking. Watch out.
Yep, you never know what's going to happen.
That's right. Deborah Colleen Rose and Luann Morris at the Clear Point Crystal Studio location. And today we're in a bad mood.
You speak for yourself. I am not in a bad mood.
I need chocolate. I'm making my Reese's.
I'm just, I think I'm just tired.
It's this crazy weather. It's cold. It's hot. It's rainy. It's hot. It's cold. It's rainy. I'm sick of it.
And the crazy thing was our air conditioner here quit working Monday. Is this Wednesday? This is Thursday. Monday or Tuesday, it just kind of, Robert was hot and he turned it on and he was still hot. And he goes, what's going on? I said, well, I don't know. I'm not an air conditioner person. So, yep, we got that fixed yesterday.
It's crazy. At least you have a landlord to fix it, though. That's good.
Yep, that is good.
What are we talking about today?
I don't know.
Yes, you do. You're the one that picked the subject. Oh my gosh. Well, it's so good for y'all to join us. Bye.
I kind of wanted to talk about how hard it is for some grandparents to see their grandkids.
Okay. So go ahead. How hard is it?
Well, when you don't want to step, you got to plan ahead and call ahead, and I'm more of a show up kind of grandma. So I don't do that very well. And what I hate about it is if I do forget my head and go over there unannounced, my son gets the brunt of the I guess that's the way it's supposed to be. I haven't really had a good example of how husbands and wives interact with children. So,
well, it's weird. When I was a kid, I don't remember my grandparents hardly ever coming to our house. I mean, my mother's parents, I don't remember them ever coming to our house. And then my dad's parents came to the house occasionally late at night for cake and coffee, but that was it. So if I saw my grandparents, it was at their house.
My mother's parents were always coming over, and I was always going over there. But my dad's parents, well, his father died when he was 9 months old, so this would have been his stepdad, but we usually went there. So I don't know what the difference was.
You just call and show up? Is that what you do?
For me? For my grandchild? Yeah, I have to call.
Well, but if you don't, but sometimes you don't call. Is that what you're saying?
That's what the concern is. I just kind of, if I'm out and I want to see them and I call, nobody answers the phone, nobody answers my text, so I just show up. And
here's the thing. Let's talk about, I'm so sick of the word boundaries I could puke. Let me just put that on the record for right now. Boundaries has taken on the definition is that if I don't want you to do that, you can't do it, and I've laid a boundary. That's not a boundary. A boundary has to have some common sense to it and some consideration of manners and etiquette and things of that nature. Just because you say it doesn't make it so. But I do hate the fact, here's why I got on this tangent. I hate the fact, and this is with business and personal, it's just across the board. You call people, they don't answer. You text people, they don't answer. You email people, and if you're fortunate like me, you have a program that tells you when they read it, and they read it, and they don't answer. What's the point of having all this ability to communicate and then people don't communicate? I would rather someone write me back, text me back, call me back, go, you know what? I don't want to talk to you. Quit. Now that's a boundary. That's a boundary.
Well,
the other is lazy.
How about if you don't want to be rude, just say, I'm really busy right now. I'll get back to you. At least
if you're not lie, just say I'm so don't even lie about it. I don't think it's rude if people are just honest. I don't want to talk to you. We have nothing in common, blah, blah, blah. You know,
Some people can't
good.
do that, Deborah.
I know, but do something. I just think it is rude. I think it's hateful. I think it's mean. I think it's self-centered. I think it's passive aggressive to ignore communications with people that you know or that you might want to be doing business with, or they're trying to do business with you. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to promise I'm not going to go off on another tangent today, but I think I'm
Well,
done.
I think you're right. As soon as you see it, you need to respond to it somehow.
Yeah, something. Like when Scott and I fight, we have an agreement because I'm a fighter in the moment. I can think on my feet really well verbally and stuff, and Scott likes to put more thought into what he says. So we have an agreement that if he thinks that he needs time to think about the subject matter, he'll say, I don't want to talk about that right now. However, he has to give me a time frame that we will come back together and discuss that. Otherwise, that's him controlling the conversation and the dialogue, and not, and that's no different than me trying to overwhelm him with dialogue when he's not ready. One's just as bad as the other.
Yeah, you're right. Everybody has to kind of come to the same page.
But so, does it bother you that your son gets nagged at because you show up unannounced?
Yeah.
Makes you feel bad?
Yeah.
I'd say screw it. So if you don't like it, answer me. I mean, seriously, it's if you text him and the mother, his wife, the children's mother, both, and neither one of them respond to you, it's on his back. I wouldn't feel bad for him. He don't want to get nagged. He needs to answer. Otherwise, you know what? He'd get double nagged as far as I was concerned, because I'd be nagging him too. Why aren't you answering me? I hope she chews your butt out because I showed up.
I think that probably I'm going off of the way things were when I was a child. If you want to see your grandparents, you rode your bicycle over there and saw them. And if they wanted to see you, they drove over and to see what was going on.
Well, see, we weren't close enough to ride a bike to see them. And, they lived a distance away. I have this problem. I'm kind of in a situation. I tell you, this is falling apart.
Well, Luke can't do that because of Dallas, the way Dallas is. He can't he can't just hop on a bicycle and come over here.
Well, and we have a very blended family. It's either blended or mixed up, depending on your point of view. So my granddaughter has me and her other grandmother, as grandparents. And then the two boys have me and two other sets of grandparents, because they have the biological father's parents and their biological mother's parents. So sometimes there's a huge conflict in scheduling, because there's so many grandparents to juggle. What hacks me off is that I see the kids more than the other grandparents do, because number one, we live in the same city. Number two, they live in my house, my physical, my rental property. So we have that to deal with. And since they're in my school district, a lot of times I will go and pick them up from school or different things like that. So I'm in a assisted parenting position because of circumstances. So I'm not getting to do fun things with them, even though I'm seeing them more often. I'm, chauffeur, babysitter, cook, things of that nature. And so it hacks me off when the grandkids treat me like I'm chopped liver, because they treat me like they do their parents.
Because you're doing more parenting
Yeah.
than other grandparents.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I just I don't know that there's a happy medium other than open communication.
I know, and I think that I fail at that.
Well, I think you do too. So we're in agreement. Can you believe that we're agreeing on something? Now, are you going to change that is the question.
That is a good question, isn't it?
It is, isn't it? So do you feel like you're entitled to continue in this vein? Do you see the secondary point of view here? Are you getting what you want? That's what I always ask my coaching clients. Are you getting what you want? And if you're not, maybe we need to reconsider your activities.
It's hard to know what to do because I don't want to upset anybody.
But you already have. You've upset the wife, you've upset the son, you've upset yourself. And I bet if the truth be told, your grandchildren are upset because they don't get to see you enough. Dum dum dum.
Well, I don't, John never acts like he's upset. He just says, Mom, you got to call first, or I'm gonna not gonna hear the end of it.
What, does he answer your text messages and calls when you call him?
Most of the time, but sometimes
Oh.
he doesn't.
Okay, so he's not at fault a lot.
No.
Okay, well, Luann, the more we go into this, the worse you're looking.
Yes, I am blaming myself right now.
I was going to say, we didn't think this through very clearly before we got
Well,
on this recording.
it's okay. It's okay to be called out on it. Sometimes you need to be called out on it. And
How old is your oldest grandchild?
huh? He's
How old is
12.
does he have a
Or-
phone?
Yes. And I text him, but I try not to text him during the day, and then grandma has so much going on in the afternoon and the evening, she forgets until it's too late. And then he's
Ah,
going to be either going to bed or getting ready for bed because of school.
well, I do that. I had that juggling problem with Scarlett because, she has her phone with her during school, but she can't be on it.
Correct.
And, but I had the opposite problem with her for a longest time. And the other grandmother complained too, because we would like text her and she wouldn't respond. We'd call and she didn't answer. And I finally just told her, I said, guess what? If you don't start listening to that phone and answering us and responding, I'm taking it away from you. And she looked at me and she looked at her dad and he goes, don't look at me. She's in charge. You know? So, I said, this is a great way for you to learn social skills. So she's gotten much better, at least acknowledging that she got it. Because I like to send her Facebook memories of things that I posted about her when she was little and said, this is from 2015. And you said this and you were just, damn adorable and I can't stand it, blah, blah, blah.
Mhm.
And then Amazon pictures will poke up memories. And a lot of times her photograph will poke up and I'll send that to her. So now she'll go, TY. Took me about a week to figure out that meant thank you.
Thank you.
But at least she's responding. And then the other day she did go, oh, well, I was kind of cute when I was little, wasn't I? So that was the extent of the conversation. But at least I know now she's getting the messages and looking. I don't like it though. It bugs me.
I guess I just don't know where I am on, where I stand.
Well, can you ask?
Yeah, probably I should ask.
See, I don't care where I stand with the adults. I don't really care. They're my children and I raised them and I'm done raising them. And then they have their spouses and that they pick their spouses. That's their issue. They have to deal with their spouse, not my job. But with the grandkids, I have been pretty outspoken about what I want in the relationship and what I expect. And I use it as a learning tool with the children on, reading social cues and developing relationships and, things of that nature. And, it's been a struggle. I'll just say that. The person I like the best right now is my granddaughter and my daughter's husband. The rest of them hack me off all the time.
Well, I just don't. I know they have very demanding jobs. I know they're very busy, and I don't want to add to their stress, and if I stress them out, then
Why does that stress them out though? The fact, excuse me, you would think they would be bending over backwards to kiss your butt because you're coming to get their child and giving them some time that's downtime to either take a nap, have sex, whatever they want to do because you're
no,
doing something with the child.
I
I don't
can't.
get it.
I can't take Luke anywhere
Why?
because something might happen.
Okay. You're going to have to elaborate a little bit. I can see we have a communication issue now. I'm going to
Maybe
need more
now that
chocolate.
he's older, it's different, but it's like, let me come and pick up Luke and we'll go do some crafty stuff. And when I went over there to pick him up, John went with us. The only time I've been alone with that child is the day after he was born. I was alone with him for about 15 minutes while they walked around and then Crystal had to go to the hospital when he was less than a year old, and I took him back to their apartment. Oh, and there was one other time. So 3 times. And the other times is that if we kind of get together so mom and dad can go do something, I'm at their house. We don't go anywhere.
Have you asked why?
Because he's their only child, and if something happened, it would be my fault.
Was that specifically said? Is that what they said?
What they said was, we don't believe in accidents, and that
Did you point out that they had that child because you raised the child that made that child, and he's still here?
they make
Oh, my
excuses, and I
children?
said I did have a child once upon a time. I had 2 of them, and I
Yeah,
said
the other.
I
I
managed
haven't met.
all that on my own, and I think you turned out pretty good.
This is
So
what I wish we had the studio line, and we would just get people on the phone and put them on the air, like
like,
Howard Stern.
yeah, yeah.
Well, I'd like to get somebody on the phone right now and go, "Hey, what's the deal?" I'm
Well,
telling you.
I don't confront it, and I probably should say, "What's
Well,
up?"
I want you to take that out of your vocabulary. Probably should.
Is that
Okay,
like
and
try?
no, just say one day I may decide that that's what I'm going to do. I have that option. I haven't decided to do that yet, but I may one day.
I have not decided to do that yet, but that
Well, I
day is
wish you would.
coming.
I wish you would though. I really wish, because I'd like to
Well,
hear that conversation.
it's just that you, as a grandmother, you want to spend as much time with them as possible. He's my only grandchild.
Well, I would tell him that he's my only grandchild, and I don't trust y'all to get him raised.
It's not that at all. I think they're great parents.
But
They
you see my
they
point.
huh?
You see my point, though. It's the same logic.
Yeah, and I think they're great parents. They just are a little bit helicopter parents.
A little bit. I think we're going to coin a whole new verb here. Chicken cooped. That's an adjective, isn't it? They're
Chicken
they're
coop?
they're chicken coop parents. They put a big old chicken coop fence around them and want them outside the parameters because the fox might get them. Not and not thinking that the fox can come around that fence, dig under the fence, jump over the fence. They have a false sense of security because there's a chicken coop fence. I like that. I'm gonna write a book called The Chicken Coop Parent.
Only they can arrange the boundaries for the chicken coop.
Well, I mean, it's a false sense of security. Like you, like they won't have an accident with the child. Like does he
Only
go to
that's
school without them, or do they leave him alone with the teachers, or is he homeschooled?
No, he goes to school.
I'm getting hot now. This is hacking me off. I'm getting hot.
He goes to school.
And they don't go with him? What? Kidding me?
No, but no.
Okay, you. Whoo. Where's my phone? What's the number? I'm calling. Good
You
Lord, you
want me
picked
to be in more trouble than talking
girl.
about.
I'm going to tell you right now. I don't think you can be in any more trouble. You are so restricted in the relationship. Other than them saying you will never see him until he's 18 years old, how could it be any worse? I mean, I'm not trying to make you feel bad. I want to go on record right now saying that Luann picks out most of the subjects that we
And
and
they're usually stuff I want to talk about, but it's just I don't know what to do about this other than cause trouble. And I don't want to cause trouble.
okay, bullshit. Oh my God, now you're just frustrating me. Adults realistically can sit down and have a conversation that involves negotiation and compromise without it being troublemaking. I'm letting that just sit for a minute. Just sit for a minute. So, you know, you don't have any information to work with. You don't know if you've done something that's upset them. You don't know if you have a personality conflict with someone and this is their way of keeping you at arm's length because they don't want to deal with you. You don't know if you used to drink on the sly and they found out. You
Yeah,
don't
I'm a
know.
big drinker. Yeah.
Maybe they think you're a witch and she's, you know, a strict Catholic or something. I don't know. I'm just hallucinating right now. But the problem is so are you. You don't know. You don't know. So how can you fix anything when you don't know?
I don't know.
Well, at least we're in agreement. Two
Okay,
things we're in
so
agreement. You're making my nose run.
I'm just at a loss. I just there's so like I knew grandparents. They had an only child who got married. He had 3 children. And all of a sudden, um the child is saying, I never want you to see your grandchildren again. I wouldn't subject them to your whatever. I mean, I don't know what the conversation was, but he was angry over something and then he just broke all communications.
Well, see that's a whole nother thing. I have this in my family, not with me personally, but people in my family, where one adult child has an issue with their parents. And so that adult child will not let her children have a relationship with her parents because she's mad. I think the relationships, unless the people are abusive or alcoholic, unclean, unsafe, I mean, that can be documented, not just something you've made up in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
I think the children should be allowed to define their own relationships with the other
Well, and
family.
these grandparents pay for the children to go to private school.
Oh, hell no.
And
I
the
gave up for Lent. Lent was actually 3 hours for me.
but let's see, how did it so the principal for this private school knows the situation, but the principal sends the grandparents the schedules for plays and sporting events, and so they at least go to these plays and sporting events so they can see the grandchildren, even if
That's
it is from a
terrible.
distance.
That's terrible. But thank goodness for the kindness of, distant people. Well, you know what? Okay, so I'm going to go on record, and I don't know that this is all fact. And I'm going to go on record and say I normally do not talk personal specifics about my family because I like to respect their privacy. Because
Hmm.
let me tell you, I could do a whole show for 3 hours a day for the rest of my life on my family and what's wrong with my family. Okay. Past, present, and future. All right. But so my daughter is married to a man and they live in Washington State. So I've only met him once, but we talk on the phone and we email and stuff. And I just adore him. Frankly, I think he's a child I must have had while I was in a coma and they took him away because he and I are so much alike in so many ways. It's unbelievable. And I just adore him. But he was married before my daughter and had 2 children. And through some really horrible circumstances, was not able to see his children after the divorce. The children went to the school where his mother worked in the cafeteria. And she saw those kids every day. And other than to say, hello, how are you? That's the only interaction she had with them.
Did they
And
know?
yeah. And I'm like, oh, hell no. And my daughter will back me up on this because they know that if the shoe had been on the other foot and her husband had been my child in those circumstances, we would have mortgaged everything we had to mortgage to fight that to make sure he did not lose his parental rights. And I can't imagine being a grandmother in those circumstances, seeing those kids every day and not doing everything I can to make them a part of my family. I don't get that. Do not get that. You know, and I don't understand people not fighting to have better relationships in their families. I don't get that. My family basically threw me away when I was 11. My grandparents didn't try to see me, didn't see my aunts and uncles, my cousins, nobody. It's like me and my brothers, we just ceased to exist. And I would and establish some relationships partially as I got older, but I was just like, how do you do that? Because we're talking about a family group that I saw many of them almost every day of my life because we all lived in the same neighborhood. How do you just kind of forget somebody exists? So
Well,
fight.
I'm thinking about our oracle cards and the generational curses. My
Yeah.
mom doesn't like what I said to her, and she has stopped calling me.
Who did? Who did?
My mom, Anita, my birth mom.
Your birth mom. Saying I just
So the only
that part,
time I can communicate with her is if I call her or I text her, or she doesn't pick up the phone to call me.
you know, um, our Bible study talked about this last night, that what causes so much grief in this world is people that judge others.
Mhm.
So to say, I don't like what you said to me is a judgment. Okay. And we're not talking about grossly abusiveness. All right. And just because someone pisses you off or hurts your feelings doesn't mean that they're abusive. All right.
No, because what I said to her was, she's concerned that her partner is going to pass. He's really bad. And I said, Mom, I know you're not going to come to Texas. Uh, you never have really. Well, if you could find me a safe place, I said, that's not going to happen because not every place is 100% safe, regardless of where you go. I said, so I don't think I can make you happy here in Texas. But what I would suggest that you find a retirement community near Eric, who's my half sibling. And I said, find a retirement community. I got to go. I got to get dressed. Whack. And I think she thought I was saying
You're
nursing home.
old. You're old.
I think she was saying I was saying nursing home. And what I
Well,
meant,
I think she heard that, and I think she heard that you're not going to take care of her. That's what I think she heard.
but it's not that I wouldn't. I have begged, pleaded, got down on my knees. Let's come to Texas. Let's find a place for you. Let's look at this. Let's look at that. blah, blah, blah. And she has put me off for 10 years. And I finally said, okay, I'm just kind of wasting my breath, spinning my wheels. So I just need to go with it.
Well, we were talking, or I wasn't talking, but the teacher was talking about how when you have a different filter than I do. You see things differently than I do. And so you could say something that upsets me and it's not what you meant. But by me choosing to be upset, I have now judged you. And it's the law of judgment that causes so much grief between people, is because I expect you to do things. I expect you to do things that make me happy. That's a judgment. If you hurt my feelings and I don't try to get to the root of what you truly mean, then that makes you a terrible person. That's a judgment again. And so it's really hard to imagine getting through a day without judging someone. But if we could stop and say, this is them, this is me, we're different people, we see things differently, and that's helped me to get over a lot of my anger, because I was very angry. If you're going to live in judgment, I had a lot of things to be angry about, a lot of things. And I have to admit, a lot of things I don't understand. They don't make sense to me. It's not how I would do it, but it's how other people do it. And I don't allow it to affect my self-worth or how I value myself or anything else. But I at least try. I personally try to sit down and have conversations with people, as long as they will converse and they don't yell at me. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do.
And, be ugly to me and, hit me with a wall of anger and belittlement, then I'll sit down and try to figure out where we can meet somewhere in the middle, and who knows, maybe they're right. Maybe I did do something wrong. And then if that's the case, then I want to see if I can make repairs. But the situation with your mom, it's going to be what it is. And unfortunately,
Yeah,
unless you
because
just, I go to people, I'm like, what are you mad about? I don't ask them if they are mad. I just go, what are you mad about?
because to me, the retirement community is like the apartments I looked at that are 55 plus. That's
I
a
would
retirement.
kill to live in one of those. I would kill to live in one of those. They have indoor pools. They have little movie theaters. They serve food in the cafeteria where you can cook in your apartment. They have buses that take you shopping and to the casino. And man, sign me up.
Well, I've been looking at those because they're, usually with the price compared to square footage, they're much more affordable. You get a little more square footage, and a couple of them I've looked at, the water and the trash are paid. That's a big deal.
The ones I want to live in are like $5,500 a month. I can't afford
Oh,
that.
no, this is more like an apartment community, but it's for people who are 55 plus.
Mm-mm-mm.
So
Well, if it were me, I would say I would like to have a conversation with the two of you. And if I have done something wrong, I would like to make amends. And if not, I'd like to see if we can come to some kind of an agreement and see what it would take to make you comfortable, so I could have more alone time with my grandchild. And, you may not be
yes,
willing to
that
meet,
needs to happen.
you may not be willing to meet their requirements. They may not be reasonable, but at least you're being reasonable and offering a conversation.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, it does. I don't remember when it was, but I think it was when Luke was 1 or 2, at Christmas time. Because we always, with my kids, I opened gifts on Christmas Eve, and then we had Santa Christmas morning. And I was very excited those first couple of years. to spend time with them. And I never said anything, but what they said was, we just want to be together as a family on Christmas morning. We don't want anybody over here.
Aren't you family?
They were talking about the three of them.
You know what? That
Yes. Did you
sad to
stutter?
me. Yeah, I
Huh?
did, because I was trying to think of how to say this in a more positive way. That's sad to me because because being someone who reads energy and relates to people and their energy levels, the more people in my environment that are happy and peaceful and content, the better quality of experience. Now, if you have 10 people in the room and one's just a bitch or whatever, that can really throw, a horseshoe into the ring. But, you know, to have people in a loving environment, why would you want to restrict it? I don't get that. I feel very sad for whoever's initiating this lifestyle. I feel sad for them based on what you're telling me. If there's something missing out of the loop that would change that, then I can't imagine what it would be, but I'm open to hearing that. But based on what you're describing, it's really sad. It's sad for them. It's sad for you. I don't get it. I do not get it. And frankly, of course, I'm a bitch and you're not. If my son pulled that crap on me, I would say, I brought you in this world. I will take you out. You do not get to cut me out of your life.
Well, I try to respect what they want together and try not to butt in.
For 350 days of the year, great. But there's 2 days of the year that can be yours. What happened to honor thy father and thy mother? What happened to paying respect to your elders? What happened to treating the crone of the tribe with the respect that she's earned by living as long as she had?
Well, I lost that respect when I married.
Oh, bullshit. I'm so annoyed now I can't see straight. I just want to thank you for making my blood pressure go up today.
Okay, so maybe we need to stop the conversation now and just
No,
agree that it's unresolved and
well,
agree
now I just resolve it.
agree that I'm an adult and I need to if I want to see anything different, I need to talk to my kids.
This is true. But you know what? In all fairness to this whole conversation, this whole scenario, this is not unusual. It's just not. I hear this story a lot,
Well,
and
yeah.
how family members and grandparents are pushed to the side and things of that. And I don't understand that. All right, I'm just going to say it. My mother lives with me. My mother and I have had difficult relationship times, but that doesn't change the fact that she needed me and she's my mother and she gave birth to me. And I felt like that there was a need to respect and honor the effort she put into giving me life and raising me. I'm not saying I owed her. This is my way of honoring her position in my family and in my life. And I just think that if you can't be loving, you can at least be respectful. There, I said it. Now,
well,
you give me a cue and I'll go there and I'll punch him in the nose. And I will.
Yes, I missed having that because my parents passed when I was in my early 20s. That my
adopted. You have
my adopted parents.
Yeah.
So I didn't meet up with my birth mother till I was 40. And we had a great relationship and it's just that as she gets older, she misunderstands what I'm trying to tell her. And then she refuses to leave California.
So I don't think there's anything else for you to do at this point, except just be kind and stay in contact and check on her.
Well, yeah, and that's what I told her. I said, at first I was really pushing her hard to come to Texas so I said, Mom, if you come to Texas, I will take care of you. I said, it's just very difficult to do that when it's long distance. And she had eye surgery and I flew out there to help with that. She had heart catheterization and I flew out there to be with her when she had that. And there was something else that happened. Oh, she had shingles and I flew out there to be with her for that. To try to help ease some of that pain and difficulty and help bridge the gap with the doctor. So
Sounds
so
like
it's
you've
not
been a
that I
really
have,
great daughter to her.
huh?
Sounds like you've been a really great daughter to her.
I've done my best to be that
Because I'm gonna tell you right
because
now, when I get older, I'm not living with my kids. You couldn't pay me to live with.
well, that's why I told my kids, I want you to be very, very successful because I want the very best nursing home.
Exactly. Exactly. I would live with your youngest son. I like him. He's fun.
Yeah, he's great. Yeah. But it's time for him to be out on his own for a while.
Of course, Scarlett, my granddaughter, thinks I have boundary issues because I've told her that I'm going to go to college with her.
Yeah. 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 My grandson's mother tells him that and he goes, "No, Mom, you're not."
I told her I'm going to get the dorm room next to hers, and if I can't get that, I'll rent an apartment across the street because I have all my surveillance, and I'm just going to sit there at the
Oh.
desk watching what she does. I'll be doing background checks on all the boys she goes out with. I'll be,
Mhm,
they'll
mhm.
be fully vetted before she steps foot in that car.
You will be so restrictive.
No, well, I'll give her freedom, but we're going to make decisions based upon facts. We're going to have the facts. We're not going to be flying by the seat of our pants. That's who I am.
Okay.
Because I flew by the seat of my pants and I know where it got me.
Yeah, so did I.
It was a lot of fun, but I don't want to do it again.
Yeah, so if I had a pill for you to go back to being 6, but know everything you know today, or being the smartest person in the world, which would you do?
Well, I am one of the smartest people in the world, so I do the first one. That's a no-brainer.
I would go back to being 6 if I had all the information I have right now.
Absolutely. I already am the smartest person in the world. I just needed to have all that. It wasn't a lack of knowledge, it was a lack of sophistication and world exposure. I didn't have normal patterns and normal examples to base decisions on.
Well, and I based my decisions purely on emotion.
Oh, I did. I did.
Mine was purely emotional decisions, and I still struggle with that today.
Yeah, we know. We know. All right. Well, tell them about Herbal Lou and how they can find you and
Oh,
your
well, Herbaloo is gearing up to do something different in that we're going to have more sophisticated jars. And I'm probably going to be doing the Garland Market, Urban Market in March, April. Yep. And they can reach me at Herbaloo 1105, HERBALLU 1105 at gmail.com. Or they can go to the website, which is www.herbal-lu.com.
That's very good. And I need you to come up with something for corns and calluses and rough cuticles.
And what cuticles?
The rough cuticles on your toes and your
Oh, well,
fingernails.
you can use the rough cuticles. You can use the healing cream or the body butter.
Well, I get little rough spots on the edges of my two of my toes because I curl my toes and clench my shoes for some reason, and they rough. I don't know. They're on
Okay,
my-
so what I do for that is I cover my feet in body butter and I put socks on and
Okay.
I sleep that way.
I
And a
hate
lot of
sleeping.
times it will soften overnight. So you can either file it away or peel it away.
I'll try that, but I hate sleeping in socks. My feet get hot. All right, so we do this show because we like each other and also because we're a part of Miles of Smiles Entertainment and Events. We do fortune telling, kiss readings, handwriting analysis, cocktail readings, and all kinds of stuff. And you can find that out at milesevents.com.
Yep.
And that's Luann Morris, and I'm Deborah Colleen Rose, and we are talking again, so you better watch out. You never know what we're going to
Yes.
do. And we'll see y'all next week.
Bye now.
Bye bye.